why don't you help me out by giving me helping me welcome our online audience. We're so glad that you're joining Celebration Sisterhood. Wherever you are joining from, thank you for being a part of what is going on here at Celebration amongst all the women here. We're so glad you've joined us. We pray that the message blesses you today. So today we're in week 3. I want to just say how great it is to be back. When I travel, man, I love what I do, but there's nothing like being here with y'all, being with the women that God has planted in this house. It's refreshing to me. It strengthens me. It makes me, encourages me in my faith and in my walk with God and as a leader. So thank you for being who you are and releasing me to go, but welcoming me back with equally open arms is awesome. We're stepping into week 3 today, and it's entitled Honesty Wins. Honesty Wins. And you know, when Stovall and I first got married, he had recently graduated from college, and his dad, as a graduation present, got him this GMC truck. Now, we live in Louisiana at the time, so trucks were a deal, like they were a big deal. It was it was the Mac of all trucks. It was a huge truck. First of all, it was all black. Secondly, tinted windows, but that's not all. Extended cab. Okay, if you have a truck man in your life, you know that this extended bed, grill on the front, mud tires. I mean, it was like, I would drive up to gas stations in this car, and men would be like, not looking at me, truck. And then I would get out of it, you know, and I was like a lot more petite then because I was a lot skinnier and I would never wear heels. And so, I mean, short, little 5'3", get out of the truck, like have to climb down on the running board, and you would just see the look of disgust on their face. Like, you are not worthy to be driving this truck. You know, and they're sitting there in their old beat up Dodge looking at me filling up the tank. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay to be a little jealous. Don't worry. I'm not going to hold it against you. But it was a great truck, and I loved it. But and it was a major improvement over the other car Stovall had because he had a blue Honda Accord. And the thing about that car was it was really adequate. It was trashed a little bit because it was his first car right out of high school. But also, on the back, there was this bumper sticker that went from end to end, huge black with yellow words that says, "Unless ye repent and believe, ye shall perish." So, you know, I really, really much more enjoy going out on dates in the truck than in the hell bumper sticker beat up Honda. I just made for an easier night, less, you know, people flipping the bird at us, and just better experience all around. So anyway, we got married, and here's the thing, if you've ever had a truck, what do other people think about your truck? Personal moving vehicle, right? Everyone wants to borrow your truck to use it to move, which is great. My husband's generous, doesn't mind it. But one time, he was going on a 2-week mission trip to Peru, and I was staying back, and he had really his truck was fairly new still. And so he said, look, Carrie, when I go on this trip, don't let anyone use my truck for anything. You can drive it. I had like a little Chevy Nova. It was more like a go-kart. Like it felt like the Flintstone car when you would he would put his feet through the, so I said, okay, no, I won't let anyone use it. Well, what do you know, but a few days after Stovall leaves, a guy calls up the house and he says, hey, Stovall told me I could use his truck to move into my new apartment, and I'm moving in this week. And I was like, oh, well, you know, he told me no one can use this car while he's gone. He's like, no, he already told me that I could use it. He told me I could. Like, I don't have any other plans. I don't have a way to move. I don't have any money. Like, you've got to let me use the truck. And I was like, well, he was really specific. No one can use the truck. Can you find someone else? And he goes, nope, I can't. You're going to have to. That's so, like, put the guilt on me. Like, I cannot believe. I know. And he said, I know that he just forgot, and he would want me to he would want you to let me use the truck. So I said, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, like, it's one of those moments, like, I feel sorry for the guy. He's part of the college group. Stovall's the college pastor. It's kind of bad of him to put pressure on me while my husband's out of town to, like, dishonor his wishes, but I don't know, you know, I'm just trying to, so I said, oh, okay, you know, all right, well, just be really careful with it, and if he already promised you, I'm trusting you. So guy takes it, brings it back, I guess everything is good. Stovall comes back from Peru, and a few days after he's back, he walks in the kitchen one day and he goes, Carrie, did you let someone use my truck while I was gone? And I went, no. And he goes, are you sure you didn't? I'm like, 100% positive. I did not let someone use your truck. I'm just standing there looking at him. He goes, yeah, because there's it's weird. Before I left, it was fine, but there's a huge scratch on the bed liner. It looks like something heavy was dragged across it. Are you sure you didn't let anyone use it? I'm sure. I did not let anyone use it. Bold-faced lie. Total lie. Now, I don't know why I thought I could hide that from him because, he's going to find out. But for some reason, I just lied. And, he did eventually find out. Like, then he kind of went to work on it that day to figure out what happened and talked to the guy. And the guy basically called and said, "Thanks for letting me use your truck." And that's how he found out. And he kind of let the guy have it for putting the pressure on me. And he was like, "That's my wife. Like, you don't undermine my, what I tell her to do. If she tells you I said something, then just, respect that and don't try to put pressure on her and bring division in my home, like, because it was wrong of him to do that." But then he came back to me and he kind of let me have it about lying. And it was like, "Why would you lie to me, Carrie? Like, why in the world would you do that?" And I'm crying. Like, we're brand new married. This is my first lie. I've never told a lie to him before. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why. I just don't know why. I just did. And he goes, "Well, let's make a vow right now to each other that we're not going to lie to one another. Let's just erase this and let's just set a new direction for our marriage." And I said, "Okay." So we prayed and he forgave me and we got, obviously we're still married, doing good. Okay. So the end of the story. But you know what? I really did start thinking, like, I didn't even think about lying to him. Like, it wasn't like I weighed it in my mind and went, "I wonder if I should tell the truth." The first words out of my mouth were a lie. It was easy. It was not hard to do. It was just a reaction. And I said, I kept thinking, why on earth would I do something like that? Why would I lie to my husband? And I started really thinking, like, why was that the first thing to overflow out of my heart? Like, I'm not a liar in general. Like, I don't go around telling lies. I don't like being lied to. What is it? And I realized that, if you were here, if you've been here a while, maybe you've sometimes heard me talk about that. Before I started dating Stovall, I was in an emotionally abusive relationship for 3 years on and off. And a coping mechanism that I developed in that relationship was lying. Because if I did something that displeased the guy I was dating, he would react so violently, and it was like sometimes locking me in his room and yelling at me for 3 hours at a time, and just until I would crumble. So, there was a big price to pay for telling the truth about something that you thought could potentially be displeasing. So I didn't realize it, but I had developed this coping mechanism for avoiding conflict that was just, when I thought it was going to result in a conflict, I would just lie about it. Because it could be something little, like it wouldn't be like I did something horrible if I just showed up at the wrong time, or if I forgot something, or if I was late, I would just, all hell would break loose on me. So I just developed this little coping mechanism. It was a survival mechanism in my previous relationship, but unfortunately it became a part of just what overflowed, like Kenan talked about, what overflowed out of me when I got in situations of conflict. And I realized I had developed a way of coping with stress and conflict that was dishonest, to avoid the pain of it. But that wasn't the only reason. That's kind of forgivable. You can go, "Well, I kind of see why you did that." But I look back over my life and I realized that even though I wasn't a bold-faced liar, like I wouldn't just full on just lie to people just for the sake, like that, there were other things I realized that had produced a root of dishonesty in my life. For example, I sometimes had trust issues. I just didn't want to trust people to take control of the situation and do it in a different way. And so sometimes I wouldn't tell them the whole truth about what was going on. I would withhold information so that I could be more in control. Sometimes it was just laziness. It's like sometimes people would want to talk to me about something. I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's no big deal. Just don't worry about it." But inside it was a big deal. I just didn't have the energy to have that conversation with them. But I wasn't being honest about the way I felt about things. I was withholding that, and it would just fester on the inside. Sometimes it was just selfishness. I just wanted my way. Even when I was a teenager, my parents would be like, "Be home at this time," and I would come home late. And what happened? We had to stop and get gas, and then so-and-so needed a ride home. And none of that would be true. Or it would be kind of true, like, yeah, but we knew we needed gas, and we knew this person needed a ride home, and I could have still been home if we would have left earlier, that kind of thing. So I realized, it wasn't like this relationship that I was in caused me to become a liar. I had sown seeds of sometimes it was just stubbornness. "This is my business, leave me alone." "Okay, great, I'll do it, just let me be." But I didn't have any intention of doing it. And those are things that, I think as people, we kind of, it's not because we want to be dishonest. It's because we just don't have the energy to deal with stuff, and we just want people to be quiet and leave us alone for a moment. And it's kind of normal behavior, normal patterns, but I spent sort of a lifetime controlling my life by half-truths and dishonesty and stubbornness and just kind of keeping my environment safe for me without by not fully being vulnerable and telling the truth. And what I realized as I was studying for this message, when stuff all taught to me about when I finally kind of got caught in that lie to my husband, I realized that, it took some self-examination, and I thought, I have the opportunity right here and right now to set my marriage on one course or another course. I can set it on the course of trust, or I can set it on the course of distrust. And marriages that are not based on trust don't have a good track record. And I want my marriage to have a good track record. So I got to work on really, really looking at the patterns of dishonesty in my life, not just blatantly lying, but where am I not being honest? Where am I not owning up to negative feelings that I'm having? Where am I acting like, being silent when I should be speaking the truth? Where am I saying, okay, yeah, just to get someone off of my back instead of engaging the real issue at hand? Because all of those are subtle forms of dishonesty, and they don't look bad in the moment, but they actually set the course of our relationships on a path.